As the night settles in around us, we are going to travel across the velvet folds of time, drifting gently toward the sun-kissed shores of the ancient Aegean Sea. We are journeying to a place of wonder, a city bathed in the golden light of sunset and the silver glow of myth. The legendary, ancient city of Troy. We will explore the peaceful echoes of its majestic stone walls, the fragrant olive groves that swayed softly in the sea breeze, and the calm, steady rhythm of daily life in a time long forgotten. There are no battles here tonight, no sharp edges of history, only the tranquil beauty of ancient craftsmen, the quiet poetry of starry nights over vast, sweeping plains, and the soothing whispers of the past. If you find comfort in these quiet travels and wish to wander with us again, please consider leaving a soft like on this video and subscribing to our gentle community. It truly helps us create more peaceful spaces for you to rest. So, close your eyes, take one more deep, slow breath in, and release it softly. The ancient winds are calling us to a world of absolute calm. And now, let's begin this slow and soothing journey. Imagine, if you will, the soft golden hour extending endlessly over the shimmering surface of the Aegean Sea. As we drift closer to the Anatolian coast, the mist begins to part, revealing the gentle rolling hills of Hisarlik. A warm, fragrant breeze carries the scent of wild thyme and sun-baked earth, guiding us toward the high, majestic walls of an ancient sanctuary. The air here is perfectly still, wrapped in the comforting silence of an era at peace. Just relax, and let the soothing rhythm of the ancient world carry you into a deep, uninterrupted slumber. As we approach the majestic perimeter of this ancient haven, the great walls rise like gentle giants woven from the earth itself. The stones carved by countless hands centuries ago seem to hum with a quiet, enduring lullaby. Bathed in the soft peach hues of the fading sun, the fortress does not feel like a place of guard, but a welcoming embrace, offering shelter to all who wander near. Vines of ivy slowly cascade down the weathered limestone, glowing like spun gold in the twilight. If you reach out and touch the ancient rock, it feels warm and grounding, holding the gathered heat of a beautiful, endless summer day. These walls have stood as silent observers to the turning of the seasons, watching generations of soft smiles and slow, tranquil evenings. The gentle rustle of leaves around the foundation sounds like a whispered promise that here, inside this magnificent ring of stone, time simply slows down, allowing every heavy thought to drift away into the waiting velvet sky. Passing through the towering southern gate, you are greeted by the comforting sight of smooth, wide cobblestones gently curving upward toward the heart of the city. Centuries of soft leather sandals and slow-moving wooden carts have polished these stones until they softly reflect the lavender hues of the evening. Walking along this path feels like floating on a quiet stream, drifting effortlessly deeper into a realm of pure tranquility. Each step brings a profound sense of lightness to your spirit, as though the ancient path itself is guiding you toward profound rest. The air within the gates is slightly cooler, carrying the faint, sweet perfume of blossoming myrtle and wild sage. Lanterns made of finely crafted clay begin to flicker softly near the doorways of the mud brick homes, their golden light dancing slowly against the walls. In this serene twilight, the entire city begins to wrap itself in a cozy, warm blanket of shadows and starlight, inviting you to simply breathe and let go. Moving slowly past the gentle curve of the houses, you can hear the soothing rhythm of a potter's wheel turning in the quiet evening. The potter's hands glide effortlessly over the wet, earthy clay, shaping it with a mesmerizing grace that seems to calm the very air around it. Every gentle sweep of his fingers coaxes the spinning earth into a perfect, elegant vessel designed to hold the sweet, heavy wine or the golden olive oil of the region. There is a deep, mindful meditation in his craft, a quiet focus that invites you to release all your own inner tension. The soft, rhythmic spinning of the wheel sounds like a steady heartbeat, slow and reassuring, echoing through the peaceful courtyard. Droplets of water occasionally sprinkle onto the dusty floor, absorbing instantly into the ground, leaving a fresh, clean scent. You feel your own heart rate slowing down, matching the steady, peaceful rotation of the spinning clay beneath his gentle, knowing touch. Just beyond the potter's quiet workshop, an ancient olive grove stretches out along the terraced hillside of the city. The slender leaves of the olive trees shimmer like polished silver in the moonlight, gently rustling with the slow, rhythmic breath of the sea breeze. These ancient trees, with their deeply grooved and twisting trunks, have stood as patient guardians for centuries, their roots sinking deep into the nourishing earth. Walking among them, you can almost feel their ancient wisdom, a quiet strength that encourages you to let go of the day's fleeting worries. The olives themselves are plump and dark, ready to yield their rich golden oil that will light the lamps and warm the hearths of the city tonight. The soft whispering of the leaves sounds like a gentle shushing, hushing the world to sleep, wrapping the entire hillside in a deep, undisturbed serenity. You are completely safe here, held in the gentle embrace of nature's quietest, most peaceful hour. Drifting further down the cobblestone path, we discover a tranquil courtyard where wooden looms stand quietly beneath a canopy of woven vines. Earlier in the day, the gentle hands of weavers guided soft threads of wool up and down, creating fabrics as light and delicate as a morning mist. Now the looms rest in peaceful silence, their colorful threads absorbing the silver moonlight. The scent of natural dyes, soft lavender, deep indigo, and warm saffron lingers faintly in the air, creating a soothing, aromatic cocoon. Baskets of unspun wool sit softly in the corners, looking like little clouds that have descended from the sleepy sky above. It is easy to imagine the rhythmic, slow clacking of the wooden beams, a comforting metronome that paced the quiet afternoons of this ancient city. In this resting courtyard, you can feel the beautiful stillness of a day's work completed, a profound satisfaction that allows the mind to empty itself and prepare for a deep, restorative night of sleep. Beyond the weavers, the city opens up into a wide, peaceful terrace that overlooks the darkening sea. Here, the merchants have left their wares for the night, draped softly under heavy linen cloths. Beneath these covers lay treasures from across the quiet waters, smooth, glowing amber from distant shores, and deep, celestial lapis lazuli that mirrors the night sky above. Even in their slumber, these beautiful stones seem to radiate a slow, calming energy, a quiet reminder of the vast, interconnected world of antiquity. The air here carries the faint, comforting aroma of cedarwood from the trading ships, mingling gently with the salty sweetness of the ocean breeze. As you breathe in this rich, ancient perfume, you can feel your muscles relaxing further, softening into the mattress beneath you. The slow, rhythmic lapping of the sea against the distant harbor walls acts as a natural lullaby, a timeless melody that has rocked this beautiful city to sleep for countless generations. Wandering away from the terrace, we find ourselves in the warm, inviting center of the grand citadel. Here, large stone hearths continue to glow with the soft, dying embers of a peaceful fire. The scent of freshly baked flatbread and sweet wild honey lingers in the courtyard, wrapping you in a blanket of culinary comfort. These communal fires were the heart of the city, places where soft voices murmured stories of the day, blending into a harmonious, sleepy murmur. Now, the ashes glow with a mesmerizing, deep orange hue, pulsing slowly like the very breathing of the earth. As you gaze into the soft, warm light of the embers, you can feel a heavy, delightful drowsiness settling over your eyelids. The radiant warmth of the stone floors gently seeps into your tired bones, soothing every ache and softening every thought. It is a profound, ancient comfort, perfectly designed to carry you away into a world of pure, uninterrupted dreams. From the shadows of the courtyard, the delicate, silvery notes of a wooden lyre float into the night air. Somewhere nearby, a musician is gently plucking the strings, playing a slow, soothing melody that seems to harmonize with the twinkling stars. Each note hangs in the cool air like a shimmering drop of dew before softly melting into the surrounding silence. The music is unhurried, a deeply relaxing composition that flows like a lazy river through the stone corridors. It speaks of calm seas, bountiful harvests, and the beautiful quiet joy of an undisturbed evening. As you listen to the gentle resonance of the strings, you can feel your breathing sync with the slow, deliberate tempo of the song. The melody weaves a protective, invisible veil around you, filtering out all noise, all distraction, until there is nothing left but the pure, soothing sound of ancient strings guiding you toward a peaceful, heavy sleep. As the melody gently fades, we look upward and notice the magnificent canopy of the night sky, unobstructed and breathtakingly clear. Without the bright lights of our modern world, the stars above Troy shine with a brilliant, diamond-like intensity. The Milky Way stretches across the vast darkness like a glowing cosmic river flowing silently over the sleeping city. Ancient stargazers would often stand on these very walls, tracing the slow, majestic movement of the constellations, finding profound comfort in their eternal predictability. The slow turning of the celestial sphere is a beautiful reminder that there is a grand, peaceful order to the universe. As you watch the stars softly twinkle in the deep indigo void, you feel a profound sense of connection to the cosmos, a realization that you are held safely within this vast, beautiful tapestry. Your mind feels expansive, clear, and perfectly still, mirroring the quiet majesty of the infinite heavens above. Beneath this stunning canopy, the grand temples of the city stand like quiet marble sentinels. Their massive columns, carved with incredible precision, seem to reach up and gently brush against the starlight. By day, these sanctuaries were filled with the soft chanting of priests and the fragrance of burning myrrh, but now they belong entirely to the night. The smooth marble surfaces hold a gentle, lingering warmth from the sun, softly radiating it into the cool evening breeze. Walking between these towering pillars feels like drifting through a forest of ancient white trees, completely sheltered from the outside world. Shadows play slowly across the stone floors, stretching and softening with the passage of the moon. In this sacred, quiet space, your own breathing becomes an unspoken prayer for rest, a deep exhalation that releases every last drop of tension. The temple gently cradles your spirit, inviting you to sink deeper into a beautiful, undisturbed peace. Just outside the temple grounds, a gentle stream meanders softly through a carefully carved stone channel. The water glides smoothly over polished pebbles, creating a continuous murmuring sound that mimics a tender whisper. This vital source of life was drawn deep from the heart of the earth, providing the city with cool, refreshing purity. Following the water's slow, winding path feels incredibly soothing, as if the stream is carrying away all of your heavy thoughts, washing them softly into the distance. Moonlight dances gracefully upon the rippling surface, creating tiny silver flashes that mesmerize and calm the mind. Small, fragrant ferns grow softly along the damp edges, adding a touch of verdant green to the stony landscape. The rhythmic, delicate splashing against the sides of the channel is a deeply hypnotic sound, coaxing your eyelids to grow heavy and your body to relax further into a state of profound, peaceful stillness. The softly murmuring stream eventually guides us to a magnificent courtyard lined with grand, ancient bronze braziers. Though the fires within them were extinguished hours ago, a faint, sweet smoke still curls lazily toward the stars. This delicate vapor carries the rich, earthy essence of dried pine needles and soft cedar, a beautifully grounding aroma that settles warmly into your chest. The braziers themselves are masterfully crafted, depicting soft, rolling waves and graceful seabirds in slow, eternal flight. Tracing the smooth, cool bronze with your eyes feels like a meditation, a gentle focus that pulls you away from the waking world. The courtyard is completely deserted now, bathed only in the quiet silver of the moon. It is a place of profound rest, where the echoes of ancient footsteps have dissolved into a perfect, undisturbed silence. You are completely alone, yet profoundly safe, wrapped in the comforting embrace of history's quietest hour. Leaving the bronze braziers behind, we step into the grand library of the ancient city, a sanctuary of quiet wisdom and peaceful thought. Endless rows of soft, rolled parchment rest gently in carved wooden cubbies, holding the poetic dreams and gentle observations of countless scholars. The scent of aging paper, dry ink, and soft leather creates an atmosphere of deep, intellectual calm. Imagine running your fingertips softly along the edges of these ancient scrolls, feeling the delicate texture of history beneath your touch. The knowledge here is not urgent or demanding, it is patient, waiting quietly in the dark like an old, trusted friend. The soft, gentle silence of the room is profoundly comforting, offering a sanctuary for your mind to finally slow down. Here, among the quiet whispers of the past, your own thoughts can gracefully untangle, flattening out like a smooth, blank sheet of parchment, ready for the peaceful rest of sleep. Stepping back out into the cool night air, we find ourselves near the peaceful sleeping quarters of the city's artisans. The narrow alleyway is softly illuminated by a single glowing lantern swinging gently on a wrought iron hook. Its warm, amber light casts long, soothing shadows that dance slowly across the smooth mud brick walls. Inside these modest homes, the craftsmen are resting, wrapped in soft woven wool blankets, their breathing slow and steady. You can almost feel the collective, peaceful slumber of these hard-working hands, a beautiful synchronization of rest that sweeps through the quiet neighborhood. It is incredibly comforting to know that in this ancient world, the end of the day meant a true, absolute pause. There is no rushing here, no urgent tasks awaiting the dawn, only the profound, beautiful necessity of deep, restorative sleep. As you absorb this tranquil atmosphere, your own body feels heavier, sinking comfortably into your bed. Following the gentle slope of the alleyway, we arrive at a quiet garden where herbs were grown for the city's healers. Bathed in starlight, the delicate leaves of chamomile, lavender, and sweet marjoram release their soothing fragrances into the cool night air. These tiny, powerful plants are nature's gentle medicine, designed to calm the mind and soothe the spirit. Brushing your hand lightly over the tops of the lavender bushes releases a deeply relaxing cloud of aroma that feels like a warm, comforting hug for your senses. The garden is perfectly still, a hidden oasis of tranquility protected by the high stone walls of the citadel. Sitting quietly on a smooth stone bench nearby, you can feel the healing energy of the earth radiating upward, gently drawing away any lingering tension from your shoulders and neck. It is a place of profound healing, where the simple beauty of nature provides the ultimate peaceful rest. Beyond the soothing herb garden, we discover a series of beautifully carved stone basins, softly collecting the cool dew of the night. This precious, crystal-clear water reflects the twinkling constellations above, turning each basin into a tiny, perfect mirror of the cosmos. The slow, mesmerizing drip of water falling from the upper basin into the lower creates a highly rhythmic, deeply calming sound. Plink, plink. The delicate drops land softly, sending slow, mesmerizing ripples across the glassy surface. Watching these gentle waves expand and slowly disappear is incredibly hypnotic, coaxing your mind to let go of any grasping thoughts. The air around the basins feels incredibly fresh and crisp, carrying a profound sense of purity and renewal. As the gentle sound of the water softly repeats its timeless lullaby, you can feel your own heartbeat slowing down, finding a deep, harmonious rhythm with the quiet pulse of the ancient city. Continuing our gentle walk, we approach a wide, circular threshing floor, perfectly smooth and beautifully vast. By day, this golden space was a flurry of joyful activity, separating the nourishing wheat from the chaff in the warm, breezy sunshine. Tonight, however, it is entirely empty, a vast expanse of smooth stone glowing beautifully in the moonlight. It looks like a giant, peaceful moon simply resting upon the earth. The stillness here is vast and expansive, offering a profound sense of open space for your mind to wander and softly unwind. There are no walls to enclose you, no ceilings to limit your dreams. Standing softly on the edge of this wide circle, you can feel the cool breeze gently brushing past your face, carrying the very last sweet whispers of the day out toward the dark, restful sea. It is an invitation to empty your mind, allowing it to become beautifully, peacefully blank. Slowly meandering past the threshing floor, we enter a quiet grove of towering cypress trees, standing perfectly tall and straight like guardians of the night. Their dark, elegant silhouettes point softly upward toward the swirling constellations, drawing your gaze deep into the infinite cosmos. The air between the trees is cool, still, and perfectly fragrant with the rich, resinous scent of ancient evergreen needles. Walking on the soft, cushioned earth beneath them feels like stepping on a wonderfully thick, comfortable cloud. With every slow, deliberate footstep, the gentle padding sound reassures you that the world is incredibly calm and profoundly safe. The cypress trees are deeply rooted, strong and unshakable, lending you their quiet resilience. Leaning softly against one of these massive trunks, you can feel the slow, steady hum of the earth, a deeply grounding vibration that pulls you further and further into a deep, heavy state of absolute relaxation. Emerging softly from the cypress grove, we find a gently sloping hill blanketed in wild, night-blooming jasmine. As the small, delicate white flowers open to the moonlight, they release an intoxicatingly sweet, airy perfume that floats lazily on the breeze. It is a scent that feels like a gentle, silken veil wrapping softly around your shoulders. This sweet fragrance has been known for centuries to invite deeply vivid, peaceful dreams. The tiny petals glow like 1,000 scattered stars resting softly on the earth, mirroring the grand, celestial canvas above. Lying back on the soft, grassy hill, surrounded by the beautiful aroma of jasmine, you feel utterly weightless. The soft grass cradles your body with perfect tenderness, absorbing every last ounce of weariness you may have carried throughout the day. Here, the boundaries between the sleeping earth and the dreamy sky gracefully disappear, inviting you into a pure, undisturbed slumber. From this peaceful, fragrant vantage point, we can gaze down at the majestic harbor of Troy. The water is completely still, looking like a massive sheet of dark, polished obsidian. Gentle merchant ships rest quietly at the wooden docks, their large, heavy sails neatly furled and tied. These impressive vessels have journeyed from distant, exotic lands, but now they sleep peacefully, gently bobbing up and down with the calm, slow breathing of the tide. The rhythmic creaking of the thick wooden ropes is incredibly soothing, a slow, gentle rocking sound that mimics the comforting sway of a childhood cradle. Occasionally, a tiny silver fish breaks the glassy surface, creating soft, expanding rings that slowly ripple toward the shore, completely dissipating into the dark, quiet water. The profound stillness of the harbor is infectious, spreading a deep, heavy tranquility all the way to your core, reassuring you that all journeys eventually find peaceful rest. Not far from the peaceful ships, a gentle expanse of sandy beach glows softly in the dim starlight. The smooth, golden sand holds the beautiful warmth of the daytime sun, offering a soft, heated bed for the weary traveler. Walking barefoot across this ancient shoreline, you can feel the incredibly fine grains of sand gently massaging the soles of your feet, completely releasing any tension stored within your muscles. The delicate seafoam slowly washes ashore, a quiet, repetitive sigh from the vast, dark ocean. Hush, hush. The rhythmic sound of the tiny waves is deeply hypnotic, washing over your consciousness like a soft, cleansing wave of pure relaxation. Every gentle ebb and flow of the tide naturally syncs with your breathing, pulling you deeper and deeper into a beautiful, weightless state. The ocean here is not a force of nature, but a vast, gentle lullaby, lovingly rocking the ancient city to sleep. Turning back toward the city walls, we notice a gentle, grassy meadow spreading softly out from the base of the mighty stones. Here, the beautiful horses of Troy graze peacefully in the quiet darkness, their magnificent coats shining softly like polished bronze beneath the moon. These strong, noble creatures are completely relaxed, their powerful muscles soft and at ease as they slowly wander through the sweet, damp grass. You can hear their slow, deep breaths, a comforting, rhythmic snorting that blends harmoniously with the whispering wind. Every now and then, a gentle whinny floats across the meadow, a soft, sleepy sound of pure contentment. Watching these incredible animals resting so peacefully brings a profound sense of safety and calm. If they can let go of their immense energy to find perfect stillness, so too can you, allowing your entire body to sink heavily and beautifully into the comforting embrace of your bed. Following the gentle edge of the meadow, we find an ancient, stone-lined well, peacefully resting beneath the shade of a magnificent weeping willow. The long, silvery branches of the tree drape softly over the well, swaying slowly like a gentle pendulum counting down the hours of the night. By day, this well was a gathering place of joyful laughter, but now it stands in perfect holy silence. Peering slowly over the moss-covered edge, you can see the reflection of a single bright star glowing softly on the deep, still water below. It is a profound, beautiful image of clarity and calm, a perfect mirror for your own quiet mind. The deep earth surrounding the well is wonderfully cool and completely motionless, anchoring you to a feeling of profound, unshakable stability. In this quiet, shaded sanctuary, time seems to completely stop, allowing you to float effortlessly in a state of pure, timeless peace. Wandering back through the gently curving streets of the citadel, we slowly pass the quiet homes of the city's dedicated bakers. The beautiful, comforting aroma of toasted grain and warm yeast still clings softly to the ancient adobe walls, a delicious memory of the morning's careful work. These large, stone ovens are now resting completely, their heavy iron doors closed tight to gently preserve the remaining heat for tomorrow's dawn. The massive stones radiate a soft, invisible warmth that brushes gently against your skin as you quietly walk by, like a deeply comforting, lingering sigh. This tranquil neighborhood is completely enveloped in a wonderful, sleepy heaviness, a pure satisfaction born from creating nourishment for the entire, magnificent city. It is a profoundly grounding feeling, reminding you that all of your own tasks are completed for the day. There is absolutely nothing left to do but surrender beautifully to the heavy, peaceful pull of deep, restorative sleep. Drifting gently away from the baker's quarters, we reach an expansive, beautifully carved marble plaza facing the eastern hills. This quiet space was designed for welcoming the first, soft rays of dawn, but tonight it simply rests beneath the vast, glittering canopy of the Milky Way. The polished white stone feels incredibly smooth and cool to the touch, grounding your spirit in an atmosphere of utter, perfect calm. Around the edge of the plaza, beautiful stone benches curve gracefully, inviting weary travelers to pause and simply breathe. Taking a seat here feels like wrapping yourself in a protective, invisible cloak of profound peace. The entire city is spread out below you, a silent, sleeping masterpiece bathed in gentle silver light. As you gaze over this ancient wonder, you feel yourself drifting further away from the waking world, sinking deeper into a beautiful, heavy, dreamlike state, ready to wander effortlessly into the gentle, waiting arms of the night. Leaving the vast marble plaza, we wander into a smaller, intimately curved alleyway where the skilled metalworkers practice their enduring craft. Now, the heavy iron hammers and sturdy anvils rest quietly in the deep shadows, completely still after a long day of creation. Tiny flakes of gold and copper dust scatter across the earthen floor, catching the moonlight and glowing like microscopic constellations right beneath your feet. The air here holds a distinct earthy metallic scent, grounded and deeply comforting. Even the large leather bellows used to breathe life into the roaring fires are now folded and completely deflated, exhaling their final tired breath for the night. Looking at these tools in their peaceful slumber, you are reminded that even the strongest, most resilient forces must eventually rest. Let your own strong muscles soften and yield, copying the heavy, absolute stillness of the anvils, sinking deeper and deeper into a beautiful, heavy state of profound relaxation. Just beyond the metalworkers, a sweet, rich fragrance gently pulls us toward a small, sheltered garden dedicated to the city's apiaries. Rows of woven wicker beehives sit quietly under the protective canopy of a sprawling fig tree. The industrious bees are fast asleep, huddled together in a warm, buzzing hum of golden harmony. This incredibly soft, continuous vibration resonates gently through the night air, creating a deeply soothing, low-frequency lullaby that massages the mind. The surrounding air is heavily perfumed with the intoxicating scent of warm beeswax and deeply sweet floral honey. It is a thick, golden aroma that seems to wrap around you like a heavy, comforting blanket. Breathing in this absolute sweetness, you can almost taste the warmth of the sun that the bees gathered all day. It fills your chest with a slow, sticky warmth, melting away any last remnants of tension, leaving you entirely soft, peaceful, and ready to dream. Continuing our slow journey, we pass a gently lit window where an ancient scribe has just laid down his delicate reed pen. His small, quiet room is filled with neat stacks of soft papyrus scrolls holding the carefully recorded memories of the city. A single beeswax candle flickers softly on his wooden desk, casting a warm, honey-colored glow across the smooth, creamy paper. The scribe slowly rubs his tired eyes, a beautifully human gesture of surrender to the late hour. He carefully rolls the final scroll, the soft, dry rustle of the paper sounding like a gentle, hushing whisper in the quiet room. It is the sound of a chapter closing, of a day officially completed and lovingly set aside. Just as the scribe gently closes his records, you too can close the ledger of your day, safely tucking away all your thoughts and allowing your mind to rest in beautiful blank tranquility. Following a gentle descending path, we arrive at a beautiful semicircular public fountain carved entirely from pale pink limestone. A stunning, intricately carved stone scallop shell catches a slow, continuous trickle of crystal-clear spring water. The water flows gracefully from the top basin, tumbling gently over the smooth, rounded edges with a soft, melodic splashing sound. This delicate, rhythmic bubbling is nature's own metronome, perfectly pacing the quiet heartbeat of the sleeping city. Delicate green moss has grown softly around the base, creating a tiny, lush forest that thrives in the cool, damp mist. Running your fingers slowly through the cool, pure water feels incredibly refreshing, washing away any lingering heat or exhaustion from the day. As you listen to the endless, peaceful flow, imagine it carrying away all your busy thoughts, leaving your mind as clear, cool, and perfectly serene as the quiet pool reflecting the starry night sky above. Nestled quietly beside the flowing fountain stands an ancient, beautifully carved marble sundial. By day, its sharp shadow boldly dictates the busy hours, commanding the steady rhythm of city life. But now, under the gentle, diffuse light of the moon, the sundial casts no shadow at all. It stands completely powerless, a beautiful symbol that in this serene, nocturnal world, time has completely lost its meaning. There is nowhere you need to be, and absolutely nothing you need to accomplish. The passing of minutes and hours no longer matters. There is only the vast, expansive present moment. This beautiful realization washes over you like a wave of pure relief, untying the invisible knots of schedules and obligations. You are completely free to drift effortlessly through this timeless sanctuary. Let the heavy burden of time slip away from your shoulders, embracing the deep, eternal quiet of a night that feels wonderfully, peacefully infinite. Tucked softly against the warm base of the sundial, a beautiful golden-furred dog lies curled into a perfect, peaceful circle. His slow, deep breaths cause his side to rise and fall in a steady, deeply comforting rhythm. One ear occasionally twitches in his sleep, responding to a quiet, invisible dream, but his body remains completely relaxed, wonderfully heavy against the cool marble. Nearby, a sleek grey cat sleeps stretched out on a smooth stone wall, absorbing the lingering warmth of the day's sunlight trapped within the rock. Watching these gentle animals rest so deeply brings a profound sense of security. They know instinctively that the night is safe, and they surrender to it completely without a single worry. You can share in their beautiful, innocent trust, allowing your own body to curl up or stretch out comfortably, finding your perfect, cozy position as you sink deeper and deeper into a heavy, undisturbed slumber. We slowly wander beneath a long wooden pergola draped heavily with ancient, winding grapevines. The thick, twisting vines form a magnificent leafy tunnel that filters the starlight into a soft, dappled pattern on the cobblestones below. Large, incredibly plump clusters of deep purple grapes hang heavily from the branches, completely ripe and ready for the autumn harvest. Their dusty velvet skins give off a faint, beautifully sweet fragrance, promising rich, comforting flavors. As a gentle, warm breeze flows through the tunnel, the broad green leaves rustle softly together, whispering a delicate, soothing lullaby. Walking through this quiet, shaded corridor feels like passing through a magical, deeply protective portal. The heavy, sweet air encourages your eyelids to droop, becoming heavier and heavier with every slow step. You are surrounded by the slow, patient abundance of nature, a quiet reminder that all good things come to those who gracefully wait and peacefully rest. Emerging from the leafy tunnel, we find ourselves near the city's grand storehouses, their heavy wooden doors left slightly ajar to allow the cool night air to circulate. From within, the rich, deeply comforting aroma of dried figs, sweet dates, and toasted barley wafts gently into the street. It is the scent of ultimate security, the beautiful assurance that the city is perfectly provided for, completely safe from the approaching winter. Huge, beautifully rounded clay amphorae stand in neat, endless rows, silently guarding the precious olive oil and grain. This quiet abundance fills you with a profound sense of deep, inner satisfaction. There is no lack here, no hunger, and absolutely no urgency. Everything you could possibly need is already safely gathered and stored. As you breathe in this rich, earthy sweetness, you feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude and peace, allowing your mind to rest easily in the comforting cradle of absolute safety. Leaning quietly against the sturdy wall of the storehouse is a large, beautifully polished bronze shield, left behind by a resting guard, rather than reflecting the harsh reality of the world. Its smooth, curved surface gently catches the pale silver light of the moon, transforming it into a soft, glowing puddle of liquid light. The circular shield acts as a tiny, perfect mirror for the heavens, bringing a piece of the vast, quiet cosmos right down to the earthly street. Looking into its gentle, glowing reflection feels incredibly hypnotic, like staring into a deep, calm pool of water. It is a profound symbol of peace, a tool once meant for defense, now simply resting, completely unnecessary in this deeply tranquil night. Your own defenses can be laid down now, leaning softly against the walls of your mind. You are completely safe, beautifully protected by the quiet, enveloping stillness of the ancient sleeping city. From a high wooden balcony nearby, the soft, hollow sound of a handmade wooden wind chime drifts down into the empty street. Carved from smooth, sun-bleached driftwood, the small cylindrical pipes clink together with a deep, muted resonance whenever the sea breeze gently sighs. Tock, tock, softly echoing through the quiet alleyway. It is not a sharp or sudden sound, but a slow, deeply earthy rhythm that feels like the slow beating of an ancient heart. Each gentle collision of the wood sends a slow, rippling vibration through the air, completely dissolving any lingering thoughts in your mind. It is incredibly easy to focus solely on this gentle, unpredictable melody, allowing it to sweep away the clutter of the day. As you listen to the quiet wooden notes floating gently on the breeze, you feel your entire body sinking deeper into the mattress, beautifully grounded and wonderfully peacefully heavy. Drifting softly around a quiet corner, we discover the peaceful, open courtyard of a master fresco painter. Several shallow, beautifully curved clay bowls rest gently on a long wooden table, each filled with finely ground, brightly colored earth. Soft ochres, deep, warm terracottas, and vibrant sea blues sit completely still, waiting patiently for the morning light to bring them to life. A faint, earthy smell of crushed limestone and natural pigments lingers in the air, deeply grounding and incredibly soothing. The painter's delicate wooden brushes, made from incredibly soft animal hair, lie completely motionless, washed perfectly clean and drying quietly in the night breeze. It is a beautiful scene of creative pause, a wonderful reminder that true art requires moments of deep, absolute stillness. Your mind, too, is a canvas, and tonight it deserves to be completely blank, washed clean of all the day's vivid colors, resting deeply in the soft, monochromatic grays of heavy, peaceful sleep. Next to the painter's home is the quiet stall of a wool merchant, beautifully organized for the night. Dozens of incredibly thick, heavy woolen blankets are folded with perfect care, stacked neatly in tall, comforting columns. The wool is dyed in incredibly soft, muted tones, gentle lavenders, creamy whites, and deep, restful indigos. If you were to reach out and rest your hand on the top blanket, it would feel wonderfully thick, warm, and exceptionally soft, promising endless hours of deep, cozy comfort. The faint, natural scent of lanolin still clings to the fibers, a beautifully rustic aroma that whispers of quiet, grazing flocks on peaceful hillsides. Imagine wrapping yourself completely in one of these heavy, protective blankets, feeling its gentle, even weight pressing softly against your shoulders and back. It is a profoundly comforting sensation, wrapping you in a cocoon of absolute safety, coaxing you to completely surrender to the deep, heavy warmth of sleep. Looking up past the neatly stacked blankets, you notice a single, perfectly soft, wispy cloud drifting incredibly slowly across the deep indigo sky. It is bathed in silver moonlight, looking like a delicate, glowing feather floating on a vast, dark, cosmic ocean. Its edges are beautifully soft and undefined, gently changing shape as it moves effortlessly over the sleeping citadel. It travels with absolutely no effort, carried solely by the unseen, gentle, high-altitude winds. Watching this quiet, solitary cloud is deeply mesmerizing. It teaches you how to simply let go, to stop trying to control the current, and to beautifully surrender to the gentle flow of the night. As the cloud slowly drifts further and further away, eventually melting completely into the dark horizon, imagine your own thoughts drifting away with it, leaving your mind vast, clear, and perfectly empty, ready to descend into a deep, uninterrupted state of dreamy slumber. Walking slowly along the inner perimeter of the Grand Wall, we gently cross paths with a lone night watchman. He carries no weapons, only a small, softly glowing lantern that casts a warm amber circle of light around his slow, deliberate footsteps. His face is completely relaxed, showing no signs of worry or alertness, only a deep, quiet peace. He is not here to guard against danger, but simply to keep a loving, watchful eye over the beautiful tranquility of the sleeping city. His soft leather sandals make hardly a sound against the smooth stones, a gentle, rhythmic padding that feels incredibly reassuring. He offers you a soft, knowing nod, a quiet promise that someone is awake so that you may safely sleep. Knowing this gentle guardian is slowly pacing the walls allows your mind to finally, completely let go of all its defensive vigilance, sinking deeply into a state of beautiful, absolute trust and rest. Gazing out past the night watchman, over the vast, dark expanse of the Aegean Sea, you can just barely see the gentle, rhythmic glowing of a distant lighthouse. Far out on a rocky promontory, a warm, golden fire slowly brightens and dims, casting a long, beautiful beam of light across the incredibly calm water. It is a quiet beacon of safety, guiding unseen, tired travelers safely toward the tranquil harbor. The slow, sweeping rhythm of the light is incredibly hypnotic. Glow, fade, glow, fade. It is like the slow, deep breathing of the ocean itself. Watching this distant, comforting light fills you with a profound sense of direction and safety. You are exactly where you need to be, perfectly guided into the safe, quiet harbor of your own bed. Let the slow pulse of the distant light guide you deeper into relaxation, washing over you in gentle waves of pure, heavy, glowing tranquility. Turning back into the heart of the city, we slowly step into a wide, open-air atrium, its floor completely covered in a magnificent, intricate mosaic. Thousands of tiny, perfectly cut pieces of colored stone are fitted together to form a beautiful, swirling pattern of ocean waves and gentle dolphins. Under the soft, silvery light of the moon, the tiny stones seem to shimmer and move, creating a delicate, deeply mesmerizing illusion of gently rolling water. The cool, smooth surface of the stones is wonderfully soothing beneath your feet, grounding your energy deep into the earth. Tracing the slow, winding patterns of the mosaic with your eyes is a form of deep, beautiful meditation. Your mind easily gets lost in the gentle curves and sweeping lines, slowly untangling all its complicated thoughts until nothing remains but a beautiful, mesmerizing simplicity. You are floating effortlessly on this beautiful sea of stone, drifting completely into perfect peace. From a quiet corner of the atrium, a gentle, lingering aroma wafts softly through the cool night air. It is the incredibly sweet, warm scent of roasted almonds and pistachios, left over from an evening merchant's small wooden cart. The nuts were gently tossed with wild honey and sea salt over a small, crackling fire just hours ago. Now, only the delicious, comforting ghost of that fire remains, filling the air with a deeply satisfying, toasted warmth. Breathing in this wonderful fragrance is like receiving a gentle, warm hug from the inside out. It is a deeply nostalgic, comforting scent that makes you feel incredibly cozy, safe, and perfectly content. Imagine the beautiful, slow process of gathering these nuts from the quiet groves, roasting them to absolute perfection. It is a sweet, gentle reward at the end of a long day, perfectly preparing your body to completely let go and softly fall asleep. Looking out through a tall, narrow window in the atrium wall, we can see the vast, beautifully flat plains of Ilium stretching endlessly toward the dark horizon. Bathed in the soft blue light of the moon, the tall, wild grasses of the plain gently sway back and forth in perfect, synchronized harmony. It looks exactly like a vast, slow-moving ocean of silver threads. The wind sweeping over these plains creates a deep, incredibly soft rushing sound, a continuous, hushing sigh that wraps the entire landscape in a heavy, sleepy blanket. This vast, open space is profoundly calming. There are no obstacles, no tall buildings, just a pure, unbroken expanse of sleeping earth under a giant, starry sky. Staring out over this endless tranquility, your own spirit feels incredibly expansive and free, beautifully untethered from the heavy gravity of the waking world, ready to float away over the soft silver grasses into a deep sleep. Winding its way slowly through the center of those vast silver plains is the legendary Scamander River. From this high vantage point, the river looks like a deeply beautiful dark ribbon of liquid obsidian, gently reflecting the brilliant twinkling stars above. The water moves incredibly slowly, completely unhurried, quietly nurturing the deep roots of the ancient willow trees lining its smooth, sandy banks. The Scamander has flowed through this peaceful valley for thousands of years, a beautiful testament to profound patience and eternal quiet endurance. Watching its slow, steady journey toward the distant sea is deeply comforting. It reminds you that all things naturally flow toward their rightful destination without needing to be forced or rushed. You too can simply allow yourself to flow, releasing all resistance, beautifully gliding along the gentle, quiet current of the night, slowly and peacefully drifting toward the vast, dark, restorative ocean of perfect, uninterrupted slumber. As the cool night air settles beautifully over the warm earth of the valley, a deeply soft, silvery mist begins to rise gently from the banks of the slow-moving river. This delicate fog rolls incredibly slowly across the grassy plains, crawling silently toward the base of the mighty city walls. It looks like a beautiful, ghostly tide of pure, glowing cotton, softening every sharp edge and blurring every distinct shape into a gentle, dreamy haze. Watching this beautiful mist slowly envelop the landscape is profoundly relaxing. It acts as a visual lullaby, slowly hiding the waking world from view, wrapping everything in a thick, comfortable blanket of quiet mystery. As the gentle fog slowly rises to meet the city walls, imagine it creeping softly into your own room, creating a cool, soft, beautifully dim sanctuary. Your eyes grow heavier and heavier, happily surrendering to the gentle, hazy weight of the beautiful rolling mist. Tucked away in a small, quiet alcove within the thick stone wall, someone has carefully laid down a beautifully carved wooden flute. The smooth, polished olive wood glows softly in the moonlight, its delicate finger holes waiting patiently for the return of music in the morning. For now, it rests in absolute, holy silence. You can almost imagine the incredibly soft, breathy notes it played earlier in the evening, a gentle, lilting melody that danced softly through the olive groves. Now, the music has completely faded, leaving behind a silence that feels wonderfully thick and rich, infinitely more profound than the music itself. It is a beautiful reminder that pauses are just as important as the notes they separate. Your day was filled with its own complex, busy music, but now it is beautifully time for the long, peaceful pause. Embrace this magnificent, heavy silence, allowing it to completely fill your resting mind. Gently descending a narrow, winding flight of stone stairs, we enter a small, deeply peaceful shrine tucked into the foundation of the city. A small, intricately pierced bronze lantern hangs from the low ceiling, casting a beautifully soft, speckled pattern of warm light across the smooth stone walls. A tiny silver incense burner rests on a small altar, releasing an incredibly faint, sweet ribbon of blue smoke. The beautiful, ancient scent of pure myrrh and rich frankincense completely fills this tiny sanctuary. It is a deeply sacred, profoundly grounding aroma that instantly slows your breathing and softens the muscles of your face. This tiny room was built for absolute quiet reflection, a perfect space to completely detach from the outside world. Sitting softly on the cool stone floor, breathing in the deeply ancient, soothing incense, you feel utterly protected, wonderfully calm, and completely ready to sink into a deep, beautiful, heavy rest. Stepping out of the small shrine, our bare feet meet a beautifully crafted garden path made entirely of smooth, perfectly rounded river stones. Each small, dark stone was carefully chosen for its perfect softness, deeply worn by centuries of flowing water. Walking incredibly slowly down this gentle path feels like a magnificent, soothing massage for the soles of your tired feet. The stones are wonderfully cool, drawing away the last bits of heat and tension from your body, grounding your energy deeply into the earth. The gentle rhythmic pressure against your feet creates a deeply mesmerizing, repetitive sensation that calms the nervous system and beautifully clears the mind. With every slow, deliberate step, you feel yourself becoming heavier, more rooted, and completely relaxed. It is a beautifully simple, deeply grounding journey, perfectly guiding you away from the complex thoughts of the day and leading you safely toward a profoundly peaceful, heavy slumber. At the end of the smooth stone path, we enter a lush, beautifully overgrown courtyard, where the city's magnificent royal peacocks sleep softly in the low branches of a dark, sprawling cedar tree. In the pale moonlight, their incredibly long, elaborate tail feathers cascade downward like a shimmering, elegant waterfall of deep indigo and soft silver. The birds are completely motionless, their beautiful heads tucked safely beneath their soft wings, breathing incredibly slowly. Occasionally, a single, incredibly soft down feather gently detaches and floats slowly, beautifully down through the cool night air, eventually resting perfectly on the dewy grass below. Watching that tiny feather fall with such complete, weightless grace is deeply hypnotic. You feel as light and untroubled as that gentle feather, completely releasing your hold on the waking world, drifting slowly and softly downward, perfectly guided by the gentle gravity of deep, peaceful rest, completely surrendering to the quiet beauty of the night. Finally, we ascend a wide, gently curving stone staircase that leads to the highest, most peaceful tower in the ancient city of Troy. From this incredibly elevated vantage point, you are beautifully suspended between the deeply sleeping earth below and the vast, sparkling cosmos above. The silence here is absolute, pure, and profoundly deep. The entire ancient world stretches out in every direction, beautifully blanketed in a perfect, heavy, unbroken peace. There are absolutely no sounds, no movements, just the profound, magnificent stillness of a world beautifully, completely at rest. The gentle night breeze brushes incredibly softly against your face, a beautiful final blessing before you completely let go. Standing here, bathed in perfect silver starlight, you feel entirely weightless, profoundly calm, and deeply ready. You simply close your eyes, take one last, incredibly deep, slow breath, and allow yourself to gently, beautifully fall into the vast, dark, deeply comforting embrace of absolute, uninterrupted sleep. As we slowly descend from the peaceful heights of the watchtower, we wander gently toward the city's ancient stone bathhouses. Even now, long after the bathers have departed, a beautiful, heavy warmth still clings to the smooth marble walls. The magnificent, deeply arched ceilings trap an incredibly soft, fragrant mist that smells faintly of crushed lavender and sweet almond oil. The air here is wonderfully thick and deeply comforting, acting like a warm, soothing blanket for your tired lungs. Small, beautiful drops of condensation gather slowly on the domed roof, growing heavier and heavier until they finally, gently fall into the still pools below with a soft, perfectly echoing plink. This deeply resonant, beautifully repetitive sound washes over your mind, completely clearing away any lingering stress. The deeply radiant warmth of the stone floors gently rises through your body, relaxing every single muscle, coaxing you further and further into a beautifully heavy, deeply tranquil state of absolute rest. In the center of this magnificent, quiet sanctuary lies the great bathing pool, its surface completely undisturbed and smooth as a beautifully polished gemstone. The water is incredibly deep and beautifully clear, holding a faint ethereal turquoise glow in the dim moonlight that filters softly through a high circular window. Staring into this perfectly calm, heavy water is profoundly mesmerizing. It beautifully reflects the magnificent curved arches above, creating an illusion of endless peaceful space. Imagine gently resting your hand on the quiet surface, feeling the deeply comforting, luxurious warmth of the ancient water. It is a profound, beautifully soothing temperature that perfectly matches your own, making it completely impossible to tell where you end and the peaceful water begins. This incredibly soft, wonderful feeling of weightlessness wraps gently around your entire being, allowing your mind to beautifully, slowly drift into a vast, deep ocean of perfectly calm, sweet dreams. Leaving the beautifully heavy warmth of the baths behind, we slowly walk into a secluded, incredibly peaceful garden courtyard where the city's musicians have gently set their instruments aside. Tall, beautifully carved wooden harps stand completely still beneath the swaying branches of an ancient pomegranate tree. In the pale moonlight, the delicate strings of the harps seem to glow softly, quietly, waiting for the gentle touch of morning. The wind, incredibly soft and unhurried, occasionally brushes past the taut strings, creating a beautiful, deeply faint, ghostly hum that vibrates beautifully through the cool night air. It is a profoundly relaxing sound, a gentle reminder of the beautiful melodies that filled the day, now gracefully resting in absolute silence. Just like these quiet, resting strings, your own vocal cords and busy mind can now completely relax. The day's song is perfectly finished, and you are beautifully invited to completely surrender to the deep, silent symphony of restful sleep. Next to the quiet harps, the dark leaves of the ancient pomegranate trees shelter incredibly round, heavy fruits, resting beautifully upon the thick, sturdy branches. The dark red skin of the pomegranates catches the gentle starlight, appearing incredibly smooth and cool to the touch. Each magnificent piece of fruit is a tiny, perfect world of deeply sweet, vibrant energy, now beautifully enclosed and completely asleep under the cool night sky. The deeply earthy, sweet fragrance of the surrounding orchard is incredibly gentle, mixing beautifully with the salty mist drifting lazily from the distant sea. Breathing in this deeply rich, wonderfully calming aroma, you feel an incredible sense of natural abundance and profound peace. Everything in this quiet garden is perfectly sustained, beautifully nourished, and deeply at rest. You are beautifully connected to this slow, ancient rhythm, allowing your mind to completely soften and your heavy eyelids to gently, beautifully drift, perfectly closed for the night. Slowly leaving the beautiful orchard, we gently make our way past the grand, circular granaries of the ancient citadel. These beautifully massive, perfectly smooth stone structures are incredibly tall, yet they radiate a profound, deeply comforting sense of security and absolute calm. Inside these immensely thick, beautifully cooling walls, countless thousands of tiny golden grains of ancient wheat sleep in absolute, uninterrupted darkness. They are beautifully protected from the cool night air, completely safe and wonderfully still. Standing quietly near these monumental stone storehouses, you can almost feel the incredibly heavy, deeply satisfying weight of the successful harvest. It is a profoundly beautiful energy of pure completion, a wonderful feeling that the hard work is entirely finished and perfectly secured. This beautiful, incredibly grounded sensation beautifully transfers to your own tired mind, completely assuring you that everything you needed to accomplish today is beautifully done, leaving absolutely nothing left but pure, heavy, magnificent rest. Drifting gently away from the grand storehouses, we discover a quiet, open-air balcony where beautifully dyed linen threads have been left to dry under the stars. Strung carefully between softly polished wooden posts, the deeply colored threads sway incredibly slowly in the soft night breeze. The moonlight catches the deeply rich shades of soft indigo, pale sea green, and warm earthy saffron, turning the gentle balcony into a beautiful, resting rainbow. Watching these incredibly delicate threads gently moving back and forth is profoundly mesmerizing, like watching a beautiful, slow-motion ballet of pure color. The threads are incredibly light, completely untethered from the heavy wooden looms, floating beautifully and freely in the quiet night air. Just like these softly swaying strands, your own thoughts can beautifully detach from the heavy woven fabric of the day, allowing them to drift incredibly slowly and gently into the vast, dark, beautiful expanse of absolute peaceful slumber. Looking down from the colorful balcony, we notice the magnificent sweeping shadow cast by the towering city wall upon the soft silver grasses of the sleeping meadow. This incredibly long, deeply dark shape moves with absolute beautiful imperceptibility, perfectly pacing the slow, grand turning of the majestic earth. It is a profoundly comforting shadow, creating an incredibly cool, perfectly safe haven for small nocturnal creatures resting in the deep grass. The line where the incredibly bright, silvery moonlight meets the deep, soft velvet shadow is beautifully sharp, yet wonderfully calm. Walking your mind slowly along this perfectly quiet boundary is incredibly relaxing, a beautiful meditation on the gentle balance of light and dark. You are entirely safe within this beautiful, heavy shadow of rest, completely shielded from the bright demands of the waking world, allowing yourself to beautifully, softly disappear into the comforting, profoundly deep quiet of the majestic night. Following the softly defined edge of the moonlight, we gently arrive at a small, beautiful home adorned with delicate, hand-strung seashells hanging softly near the open window. Collected from the incredibly calm sandy beaches just beyond the magnificent harbor, these smooth, beautifully curved shells clink incredibly gently against one another whenever the slow night breeze gracefully exhales. The sound is incredibly delicate, like the soft, distant tinkling of tiny silver bells wrapped in soft velvet. It is a deeply soothing, oceanic lullaby that speaks of vast, quiet waters and incredibly smooth, sun-warmed sands. Each beautifully gentle clink is entirely unique, creating a wonderfully random, deeply mesmerizing rhythm that prevents your tired mind from anticipating the next soft note. This beautifully unpredictable, perfectly gentle melody coaxes your thoughts to completely let go, allowing you to float beautifully and effortlessly on an endless, deeply calm sea of pure, magnificently deep tranquility. Just beneath those delicate, tinkling seashells, two magnificent, deeply loyal hound dogs are curled together in a perfectly soft, beautifully woven wicker basket. Their incredibly thick, earthy-colored coats blend perfectly together, creating a beautiful, gently rising and falling mound of deeply heavy, peaceful slumber. They are completely intertwined, sharing their profound, comforting body heat against the slightly cool, beautiful night air. One dog releases an incredibly long, deeply satisfied sigh, a beautiful sound of pure, absolute contentment that resonates wonderfully through the quiet courtyard. Watching their deeply synchronized, incredibly slow breathing is wonderfully contagious, powerfully urging your own lungs to adopt the exact same deeply relaxed rhythm. You can almost feel the incredibly soft, profound warmth radiating from their resting bodies, wrapping you in an invisible, beautifully fuzzy blanket of absolute peace, completely inviting you to curl up, completely let go, and wonderfully sleep until the golden morning. Wandering beautifully past the sleeping hounds, we gently find ourselves standing before a massive, beautifully cast bronze bell, suspended safely under a solid, ancient wooden archway. This incredibly heavy, magnificent bell was only gently rung to mark the most peaceful, joyous occasions of the city. Now it hangs completely motionless, absorbing the soft, incredibly pale moonlight into its deep, beautifully dark metallic surface. If you softly lay your hand against the incredibly thick bronze, you can still feel a remarkably faint, deeply ancient vibration, a beautifully slow hum of pure, absolute stillness. It is the profound resonance of perfect peace, a wonderfully deep frequency that communicates incredibly directly with your tired bones, instantly telling them it is completely safe to be incredibly heavy. Standing perfectly still beside this magnificent silent bell, your entire body effortlessly aligns with its profoundly grounded, beautifully deep, unbroken silence, drifting perfectly into deep rest. Gently tilting your head back from the great silent bell, you can beautifully observe an incredibly slow parade of small, deeply soft clouds drifting endlessly across the vast canvas of the magnificent night. They are incredibly translucent, looking exactly like beautifully pulled wisps of the finest, most delicate silver cotton. They gently drift right over the incredibly bright face of the quiet moon, dimming its powerful light for just a beautifully brief, wonderfully soothing moment, creating a deeply rhythmic, beautifully pulsing glow over the ancient city below. This incredibly slow, perfectly natural dimming and brightening is like the incredibly gentle blinking of a sleepy, beautiful cosmic eye. Watching this profoundly slow rhythm incredibly easily hypnotizes the mind, gracefully pulling your own eyelids downward with every beautifully soft passing shadow. The sky is beautifully rocking the entire world to sleep, wonderfully inviting you to completely join the vast, dark, peaceful slumber. Following the softly moving shadows of the clouds, we gently step into a beautifully hidden, profoundly quiet courtyard lined with incredibly smooth, masterfully carved marble statues. These magnificent life-sized figures represent beautifully peaceful deities and ancient wise philosophers. They stand completely motionless, their incredibly calm, beautifully sculpted faces softly illuminated by the gentle silver moonlight. There is absolutely no tension in their stone muscles, only a beautifully profound, eternal relaxation that beautifully transcends all human time. Staring deeply into their perfectly blank, beautifully peaceful eyes, you feel a profound sense of incredible stillness powerfully wash over your own face, gently smoothing out your forehead and completely relaxing your jaw. You become as wonderfully still, beautifully heavy, and deeply calm as these magnificent marble guardians, completely untouched by the incredibly fleeting worries of the waking day, resting perfectly in absolute beautiful silence, beautifully prepared for deep, restorative sleep. Just beyond the silent marble statues, we wonderfully approach the quietly resting quarters of the city's ancient bakers. The beautifully large, deeply domed stone ovens, shaped incredibly like perfectly smooth beehives, are completely dark now. Their beautifully heavy iron doors safely closed, yet they still radiate a profoundly wonderful, incredibly soft heat that gently warms the cool night air. The incredibly comforting, deeply rich scent of toasted barley and beautifully baked flatbread still lingers wonderfully in the quiet alleyway. It is the profoundly beautiful smell of ultimate nourishment, an incredibly grounding aroma that softly whispers of absolute comfort and perfectly safe shelter. Standing beautifully near the softly radiating warmth of these ancient stones, you can effortlessly feel your own inner fires gently dying down, turning into perfectly soft, beautifully glowing embers, beautifully ready to gracefully fade into a deep, heavy, magnificent night of undisturbed, peaceful, and wonderfully quiet rest. Drawn to the wonderfully soft, lingering warmth of the ancient ovens, several beautifully sleek, deeply relaxed cats are completely stretched out on the perfectly smooth, dark cobblestones. Their incredibly soft, wonderfully rhythmic purring blends perfectly into a magnificent, deeply continuous drone, creating a beautifully rich, incredibly low-frequency lullaby. This profoundly relaxing, wonderfully deep sound gently vibrates right through the quiet earth, beautifully massaging away any remaining nervous energy. One of the beautiful cats incredibly slowly opens a single, softly glowing golden eye, peacefully acknowledging your quiet presence before beautifully, heavily closing it again. They completely understand the profound art of total relaxation, beautifully yielding their incredibly soft, heavy bodies entirely to the gentle support of the wonderfully warm stones. You can beautifully share in their absolute, perfect comfort, allowing your own limbs to completely soften, beautifully melting perfectly into your own incredibly soft, quiet, and beautiful resting place. Just around the gently curving corner from the purring cats, a beautifully narrow, incredibly clear stream of fresh spring water flows gently down a beautifully carved ancient limestone channel. The incredibly soft, delicate sound of the cool water beautifully tumbling over perfectly smooth, dark pebbles is incredibly mesmerizing. It is a wonderfully continuous, beautifully delicate splashing that sounds incredibly like tiny, soft silver coins beautifully falling onto a soft, incredibly thick velvet cushion. The incredibly cool, perfectly fresh air rising wonderfully from the gentle stream beautifully cools your face, deeply refreshing your tired mind. You can beautifully watch the soft, incredibly pale moonlight dancing wonderfully upon the softly rippling surface, creating beautifully hypnotic, perfectly gentle flashes of magnificent light. This deeply peaceful, wonderfully endless flow beautifully encourages your own racing thoughts to simply let go, drifting incredibly peacefully away down the beautifully quiet, deeply gentle river of sweet dreams. Following the beautifully peaceful stream, we gently arrive at the incredibly quiet, softly fragrant drying room of the city's wise ancient herbalist. Beautifully thick bundles of incredibly aromatic herbs are strung perfectly upside down from the magnificently low, beautifully dark wooden ceiling rafters. The incredibly dry, wonderfully cool night breeze beautifully rustles through the deeply fragrant leaves of sweet peppermint, earthy rosemary, and incredibly soft, beautiful chamomile. The entire quiet room is completely filled with an incredibly soothing, deeply potent cloud of absolute, perfect tranquility. These wonderfully delicate, beautifully dried plants hold the incredibly ancient, deeply powerful secrets of deep, undisturbed rest. Breathing beautifully in their magnificently soft, deeply earthy perfume, you can physically feel a beautifully heavy, incredibly soft wave of pure relaxation, gently sweeping perfectly down from the top of your tired head, beautifully flowing completely through your entire resting body, deeply preparing you for a magnificently peaceful sleep. Slowly leaving the incredibly fragrant herbalist, we gently pass by the beautifully quiet courtyard of a master glassmaker. His incredibly hot, deeply glowing furnace has beautifully cooled down to a perfectly soft, incredibly deep cherry red. Around the wonderfully quiet, softly glowing hearth, incredibly delicate, beautifully shaped glass vessels rest perfectly in the cool moonlight. They are beautifully translucent, incredibly thin, catching the wonderfully soft starlight and beautifully glowing with incredibly faint hues of pale ocean blue and wonderfully deep sea green. These incredibly beautiful, perfectly fragile creations were beautifully born from incredibly intense heat and chaotic fire. But now they rest in absolute, beautifully perfect stillness and complete peace. Your own day may have been incredibly busy and beautifully chaotic. But just like these wonderfully cool, perfectly silent glass vessels, you have beautifully transformed all that fiery energy into a profoundly calm, incredibly beautiful, completely undisturbed state of rest. From this beautifully elevated part of the ancient city, a wonderfully soft, incredibly gentle breeze sweeps beautifully upward from the deeply sleeping harbor below. It carries the wonderfully faint, beautifully crisp scent of absolute, pure sea salt, beautifully mixed with the incredibly delicate, sweet fragrance of ancient, blooming night jasmine. This beautifully refreshing, incredibly cool wind brushes wonderfully softly against your cheeks, gently carrying away any incredibly tiny, beautifully lingering thoughts of the waking world. It is incredibly like a magnificent, beautifully deep, wonderfully soothing breath from the ancient sea itself, perfectly syncing with the slow, beautifully steady rhythm of your own deep breathing. With every wonderfully slow, perfectly relaxed inhalation, you beautifully draw in the incredible, absolute calm of the ancient ocean. With every wonderfully heavy, beautifully soft exhalation, you release all incredibly remaining tension, floating beautifully deeper and incredibly deeper into a perfectly vast, absolutely peaceful dream. Following the beautifully cool, salt-tinged breeze, we slowly discover the beautifully grand, incredibly vast stone amphitheater, perfectly carved directly into the beautiful, deeply sleeping hillside. By day, this wonderfully massive space is incredibly filled with beautifully loud voices, magnificent music, and deeply vibrant life. But beautifully tonight, it is incredibly empty, perfectly silent, and wonderfully bathed in incredibly bright, soft silver moonlight. The beautifully curved, incredibly smooth marble seats sweep wonderfully downward in perfectly concentric, beautifully hypnotic half circles, deeply drawing your relaxed eyes incredibly gently toward the beautifully empty, perfectly flat stage at the very bottom. Standing wonderfully quietly at the incredibly high rim, you can beautifully feel the profound, incredibly deep, beautifully heavy silence, incredibly amplified by the wonderful stone architecture. This magnificent, perfectly empty space wonderfully reflects the incredibly beautiful, deeply blank canvas of your own peaceful mind, beautifully waiting to be wonderfully filled with soft, perfectly gentle dreams. As you wonderfully stand, looking beautifully down at the perfectly silent, incredible stage, a magnificently large, beautifully soft white owl glides incredibly silently directly overhead. Its beautifully massive, incredibly wide wings make absolutely no sound at all as they wonderfully beat the cool, incredibly soft night air. The beautifully huge, wonderfully gentle bird perfectly casts a deeply beautiful, incredibly fleeting shadow that smoothly sweeps wonderfully across the pale, beautifully lit marble seats below. This incredibly quiet, beautifully solitary creature is the perfect, magnificent guardian of the absolute, deeply resting night, It flies with incredibly profound, beautifully effortless grace, completely at peace in the wonderfully dark, incredibly vast sky. Watching its wonderfully slow, perfectly silent flight beautifully inspires a profound, incredibly deep feeling of absolute lightness within your own tired chest. You can beautifully feel your incredibly heavy spirit, wonderfully lifting, incredibly ready to beautifully fly away into the wonderfully soft, deeply comforting night. Drifting wonderfully away from the grand theater, we beautifully enter a quietly sleeping courtyard where a magnificent, perfectly polished circular bronze mirror incredibly rests on a smooth stone table. Incredibly bathed in the wonderfully soft, beautifully pale moonlight, the deeply glowing metal incredibly softly reflects the magnificent, perfectly starry cosmos, incredibly high above. Looking beautifully into its wonderfully smooth, completely still surface is exactly like beautifully peering directly into a deeply calm, wonderfully peaceful cosmic ocean. The incredibly heavy, perfectly solid bronze wonderfully captures the beautifully light, incredibly distant stars, beautifully bringing the infinite, perfectly quiet heavens directly down to the incredibly resting earth. This beautifully still, perfectly reflective surface wonderfully represents the incredibly clear, beautifully undisturbed state of your own deep mind. Absolutely all beautifully complicated thoughts have incredibly vanished, leaving beautifully behind only the wonderfully vast, perfectly quiet, incredibly peaceful reflection of a magnificently deep, absolutely beautiful sleep, just perfectly beside the beautifully reflecting bronze mirror. A wonderfully small, beautifully heavy clay brazier holds the incredibly last, wonderfully faint, deeply glowing embers of a beautifully sweet-smelling fire. The incredibly soft, wonderfully deep orange glow is incredibly mesmerizing, beautifully pulsing incredibly slowly in perfect, absolute harmony with the gentle, incredibly soft night breeze. It is wonderfully like watching a beautifully slow, incredibly quiet, magnificent heartbeat made entirely of incredibly warm, deeply peaceful light. You can beautifully feel its incredibly gentle, wonderfully comforting warmth beautifully radiating incredibly softly against your skin, deeply relaxing the wonderfully heavy muscles, incredibly deep within your tired shoulders. This beautifully slow, incredibly soft fading of the wonderful bright light perfectly mirrors the incredible, wonderfully slow, beautifully peaceful fading of your own conscious thoughts. Everything is wonderfully slowing beautifully down, incredibly softening, and perfectly preparing to completely beautifully surrender to the magnificent, deeply comforting, wonderfully dark sleep. Gently moving incredibly softly past the beautifully fading embers, we wonderfully discover a deeply hidden, incredibly tranquil garden, perfectly filled with beautifully tall, incredibly magnificent white lilies. Under the wonderfully bright, beautifully soft silver moonlight, their incredibly large, wonderfully delicate petals beautifully glow with a deeply faint, incredibly ethereal luminescence. They look beautifully like incredibly soft, perfectly glowing white stars gently resting incredibly peacefully upon the beautifully dark, incredibly rich earth. The wonderfully cool, incredibly quiet night breeze beautifully coaxes an incredibly soft, deeply sweet, beautifully pure fragrance from the magnificent, perfectly resting blossoms. This incredibly clean, wonderfully delicate aroma is profoundly, beautifully soothing, gently washing incredibly beautifully over your tired senses, like a wonderfully soft, perfectly cool wave of absolute peace, standing wonderfully quietly among these beautifully glowing, incredibly peaceful flowers. Your incredibly heavy body beautifully feels incredibly light, perfectly floating incredibly softly toward a beautifully deep, wonderfully sweet slumber. Wandering beautifully away from the gently glowing white lilies, we softly approach an incredibly small, beautifully arched wooden footbridge, crossing a perfectly dry, incredibly shallow ancient stone channel. The beautifully thick, wonderfully worn wooden planks give an incredibly soft, beautifully deep, profoundly comforting thud under incredibly slow, perfectly deliberate footsteps. The beautifully quiet, incredibly rhythmic sound beautifully echoes incredibly softly against the wonderfully smooth, perfectly ancient stones perfectly below. Soft, incredibly beautiful green moss has wonderfully grown completely over the incredibly resting stones, beautifully turning the incredibly quiet channel into a wonderfully soft, beautifully dark emerald ribbon of absolute peace. Crossing this beautifully small, incredibly sturdy bridge wonderfully feels like crossing a perfectly safe, beautifully magical threshold between the wonderfully busy, incredibly awake world and the perfectly quiet, beautifully deep realm of magnificent dreams. You are beautifully arriving perfectly at your wonderfully soft, incredibly peaceful, absolutely resting destination. Just perfectly across the beautifully quiet wooden bridge, an incredibly wide, wonderfully smooth marble bench beautifully rests directly beneath the incredibly massive, beautifully sweeping branches of an incredibly ancient, beautifully majestic oak tree. This incredibly old, wonderfully strong tree has beautifully stood in perfectly silent, incredibly calm observation for incredibly countless, perfectly peaceful nights. Its beautifully thick, wonderfully dark leaves incredibly perfectly filter the softly glowing moonlight, creating beautifully gentle, incredibly soft, perfectly dancing shadows on the beautifully cool, wonderfully smooth stone bench completely below. Sitting beautifully and incredibly softly in this perfectly hidden, wonderfully sheltered sanctuary, you beautifully feel an incredibly profound, beautifully deep sense of absolute, perfectly unshakable security. The incredibly strong, beautifully thick wooden roots wonderfully anchor incredibly deeply into the beautifully quiet earth, completely lending you their beautifully immense, wonderfully quiet stability. Your perfectly heavy eyelids incredibly close, beautifully ready for a wonderfully deep, incredibly magnificent sleep. As we rest beautifully beneath the great oak, a wonderfully soft, incredibly gentle rustling draws our heavy eyes toward a quietly resting merchant's cart nearby. It is completely filled with beautifully rolled bales of incredibly fine, wonderfully soft linen from the distant, peaceful shores of Egypt. The incredibly light, deeply pale fabric is beautifully wrapped in thick, wonderfully fragrant cedar planks to perfectly protect it during its long, wonderfully slow journey across the calm, dark sea, reaching out to gently touch the edge of the incredibly delicate cloth. You can beautifully feel its perfectly smooth, deeply cool texture against your wonderfully relaxed fingertips. It is incredibly soft, beautifully resembling the gentle, wonderfully weightless touch of a perfectly calm night breeze. This incredibly fine, beautifully crafted material wonderfully represents absolute, pure comfort, perfectly designed to gently swaddle your incredibly heavy body, beautifully coaxing you to completely surrender to the wonderfully deep, perfectly soft embrace of magnificent, undisturbed sleep. Slowly leaving the wonderfully soft linen cart, we gently wander toward the beautifully silent, perfectly round stone plaza used for the city's ancient astronomical observations. In the incredibly exact center rests a beautifully carved, wonderfully flat disc of perfectly polished, dark obsidian, beautifully acting as a magnificent, incredibly still mirror for the vast, perfectly starry sky directly above. The incredibly smooth, deeply dark glass wonderfully captures the beautifully slow, perfectly silent turning of the magnificent constellations, bringing the beautifully vast, incredibly peaceful cosmos directly down to your quiet, resting feet. Staring beautifully into this perfectly calm, incredibly deep reflection is wonderfully hypnotic, completely drawing your incredibly heavy mind downward into a beautifully vast, incredibly dark, perfectly peaceful space. Your racing thoughts wonderfully dissolve perfectly into the beautifully deep, incredibly endless void of the wonderfully polished stone, beautifully leaving you completely empty, wonderfully relaxed, and perfectly ready for a magnificently deep, absolutely beautiful slumber. Just wonderfully beyond the beautifully dark obsidian mirror, a perfectly small, incredibly delicate stone basin gently collects the beautifully slow, incredibly soft droplets of pure, wonderfully cool morning dew. The beautifully clear water is incredibly still, perfectly undisturbed by even the wonderfully gentle, incredibly soft night breeze. Occasionally a beautifully single, incredibly heavy drop perfectly falls from a wonderfully delicate fern leaf, gently overhanging the incredibly smooth rim. Plink. The incredibly soft, beautifully resonant sound perfectly ripples across the incredibly small, beautifully calm pool, sending wonderfully slow, incredibly gentle rings of perfectly silver moonlight wonderfully outward. This incredibly slow, beautifully steady rhythm is profoundly, perfectly soothing, wonderfully echoing the incredibly slow, beautifully regular beating of your own perfectly rested heart. Watching the wonderfully calm, incredibly dark water gently settle back into perfectly absolute stillness beautifully encourages your incredibly heavy mind to perfectly do the beautifully identical thing, completely slipping wonderfully into deep, beautiful rest. Wandering incredibly softly away from the perfectly still dew basin, we beautifully step onto a wonderfully wide, incredibly gentle slope, entirely covered in beautifully low, incredibly soft moss. This perfectly green, beautifully plush carpet is incredibly thick and wonderfully cool, completely absorbing the incredibly soft, beautifully slow sound of our gentle footsteps. The deeply earthy, beautifully rich smell of the wonderfully damp, perfectly resting earth rises incredibly softly into the beautiful, cool night air, deeply grounding your wandering mind. It is the profoundly beautiful, perfectly ancient scent of the sleeping forest, beautifully whispering of incredible safety and deeply slow, perfectly steady growth. Lying wonderfully back on this incredibly soft, beautifully natural mattress, you incredibly feel the wonderfully immense, perfectly quiet strength of the deep earth beautifully rising to wonderfully support your incredibly heavy, perfectly relaxed body. You are completely wonderfully held, beautifully safe, incredibly ready to perfectly float into wonderfully deep, perfectly beautiful dreams. Just perfectly above the beautifully soft, incredibly lush mossy slope, a wonderfully small, beautifully delicate grove of incredibly ancient, perfectly weeping willow trees gently sways in the incredibly slow, wonderfully soft night wind. Their beautifully incredibly long, wonderfully sweeping branches beautifully reach incredibly softly all the way down to the perfectly quiet, deeply resting earth. As the wonderfully gentle, incredibly slow breeze perfectly exhales, the beautifully soft, incredibly slender leaves wonderfully brush against the perfectly smooth, incredibly cool grass with an incredibly delicate, beautifully hushing sound. Shh, shh. It is the beautifully perfect, incredibly natural lullaby of the ancient world, beautifully soothing the incredibly heavy, perfectly relaxed city to sleep. This incredibly slow, wonderfully continuous, perfectly gentle sweeping motion is profoundly, beautifully mesmerizing, incredibly perfectly washing away absolutely all remaining wonderfully small traces of the brightly lit, incredibly busy day, leaving perfectly behind a wonderfully beautiful, incredibly vast, perfectly quiet expanse of deep sleep, beautifully sheltered right perfectly beneath the wonderfully sweeping branches of the gently resting willows. A perfectly smooth, incredibly rounded piece of beautifully natural chalkstone completely rests in the beautifully cool, wonderfully soft grass. It is beautifully illuminated by an incredibly single, wonderfully bright, perfectly gentle beam of incredibly pure, beautiful moonlight, wonderfully making it incredibly gently glow like a perfectly small, beautifully fallen star. The perfectly pale, incredibly soft stone is wonderfully cool to the beautifully gentle touch, incredibly deeply grounding your wandering energy into the wonderfully dark, perfectly sleeping earth. This beautifully simple, incredibly quiet, perfectly stationary object wonderfully possesses an incredibly profound, beautifully deep aura of absolute, perfectly uninterrupted peace. It has wonderfully, beautifully rested right perfectly here for incredibly countless, perfectly calm centuries, completely untouched by the incredibly passing, wonderfully fleeing moments of time. You beautifully absorb its perfectly ancient, incredibly deep stillness, wonderfully allowing your incredibly heavy limbs to beautifully, completely soften, slowly drifting beautifully away from the gently glowing chalkstone. We wonderfully arrive at an incredibly quiet, beautifully secluded artisan's courtyard, perfectly filled with incredibly heavy, wonderfully smooth blocks of uncarved, beautiful white marble. These incredibly massive, perfectly solid stones wonderfully wait beautifully patiently in the incredibly soft, perfectly dark night, completely holding the beautifully unseen, perfectly magnificent statues deep within their incredibly cool, wonderfully solid cores. There is an incredibly profound, beautifully comforting feeling of perfectly calm, wonderfully slow potential resting beautifully within this incredibly quiet, beautifully still courtyard. There is absolutely no incredible rush, perfectly no wonderful urgency to beautifully create or wonderfully achieve. The perfectly beautiful stones simply wonderfully rest, incredibly peacefully absorbing the perfectly soft, beautifully silver starlight. You incredibly beautifully realize that your own perfectly resting mind is wonderfully just like this incredibly smooth, beautifully uncarved stone, wonderfully perfectly at peace, incredibly completely full of beautifully soft, perfectly tranquil, deeply beautiful dreams. Just incredibly softly resting wonderfully atop one of the beautifully smooth, perfectly pale marble blocks. Someone has beautifully gently left an incredibly small, wonderfully intricate woven basket completely full of perfectly dried, beautifully soft lavender blooms. The wonderfully gentle, incredibly cool night breeze beautifully catches the incredibly fragile, perfectly purple buds, beautifully releasing an incredibly dense, wonderfully heavy, perfectly sweet aroma completely into the wonderfully quiet, incredibly sleeping courtyard. This perfectly beautifully calming, incredibly profound fragrance is deeply, wonderfully famous for perfectly inviting incredibly heavy, beautifully deep, wonderfully sweet sleep. Beautifully surrounds your incredibly heavy head, like a perfectly soft, wonderfully beautiful, incredibly invisible halo of absolute, perfectly pure tranquility. Breathing beautifully in this wonderfully thick, incredibly soothing, perfectly sweet air, incredibly instantly completely untangles all perfectly remaining. Beautifully lingering knots of wonderful waking tension, beautifully preparing your perfectly heavy, incredibly sleepy body for a wonderfully vast, beautifully deep, perfectly silent, incredibly peaceful night's rest. Wandering incredibly gently from the beautifully fragrant marble courtyard, we softly pass a small, ancient wooden doorway, left slightly open to the cool, dark night. Softly glowing from within is the dim, incredibly warm, perfectly steady light of a single thick beeswax candle. The heavy, rich scent of the melting golden wax softly spills out into the beautifully quiet, empty street. This small, gentle, wonderfully warm point of softly flickering light provides a profound, deep feeling of absolute comfort and completely safe shelter. It beautifully tells your tired, incredibly sleepy mind that absolutely all necessary tasks are completely finished and you are perfectly free to peacefully surrender to the incredibly heavy, deeply comforting dark. The soft, steady glow acts as a gentle, quiet beacon, guiding your exhausted spirit away from the waking hours and safely into the vast, beautiful embrace of a profoundly deep, wonderfully quiet, and entirely undisturbed night of perfect rest. Following the narrow, winding path out of the sleeping city center, we arrive at the soft, sandy edges of the calm, ancient harbor. The dark water of the Aegean Sea is incredibly still tonight, perfectly mirroring the vast, glittering canopy of the starry heavens above. Without the sun's bright glare, the ocean feels like a vast, comforting blanket of deep indigo and soft silver. There are no crashing waves to disrupt the peace, only a slow, gentle, rhythmic swelling that slowly laps against the cool, smooth pebbles on the shore. This slow, eternal rhythm is nature's most ancient lullaby, rocking the entire landscape into a state of profound, undisturbed rest. Listening to the quiet, hushing sound of the gentle water, you can feel your own breathing naturally synchronize with the deep, slow pulse of the tide. Every soft exhalation carries you further away from the waking world, pulling you gently into the beautiful heavy depths of a vast, calm and perfectly peaceful slumber. Just a few steps from the quiet water's edge, a heavy wooden merchant ship rests gracefully at anchor. Its large canvas sails are neatly folded and tied tightly against the tall, sturdy masts, their long journey finally complete for the night. The incredibly thick wooden hull of the ship slowly bobs up and down with the gentle movement of the calm sea, creating a deeply rhythmic, entirely comforting rocking motion. A beautifully crafted brass lantern hangs quietly from the stern, its flame extinguished long ago, now simply catching the pale, soothing light of the moon. The incredibly faint, earthy scent of ancient pine pitch and salt-soaked wood gently drifts on the cool sea breeze, grounding your mind in a feeling of perfect safety and completion. Watching this grand vessel resting so peacefully in the quiet harbor beautifully reminds you that it is perfectly safe to drop your own anchor, letting your heavy body sink deeply into soft, undisturbed sleep. Along the smooth, sandy shoreline, tiny pieces of sea glass have been gently washed ashore by the quiet tide. Over countless years, the vast, powerful ocean has softly tumbled these fragments until their sharp edges are completely smooth and delightfully rounded. Bathed in the soft, ethereal moonlight, these small treasures glow with incredibly faint, delicate hues of pale sea green and soft, cloudy white. Picking up a beautifully smooth piece of this ancient glass, you can feel its wonderful, soothing coolness against your warm palm. It is a profound, beautifully quiet reminder that even the roughest, most difficult experiences of the day are eventually smoothed out by the steady, patient passage of time. You can simply let go of all those sharp, waking thoughts, allowing the gentle, rolling waves of the night to wash them away. Feel your mind becoming as beautifully clear, wonderfully smooth, and profoundly calm as the resting sea glass, gently prepared for deep, beautiful dreams. Turning slowly away from the beautifully tranquil shoreline, we notice a vast, open meadow stretching gently upward toward the dark silhouette of the distant hills. Here, the tall, wild sea oats sway incredibly slowly in the soft night breeze, brushing against one another with a delicate, rustling whisper. The gentle wind sweeping across this wide, unbroken expanse creates a deeply resonant, hushing sound that completely blankets the landscape in a thick layer of auditory comfort. It feels as though the entire earth is taking one long, collective, peaceful breath. As you watch the silver moonlight ripple gracefully across the tops of the bending grasses, your tired eyes grow incredibly heavy. The beautiful, sweeping motion of the meadow is profoundly mesmerizing, beautifully coaxing your mind to release its firm grip on reality. You are floating effortlessly on this gentle wind, beautifully unburdened, wonderfully weightless, and perfectly ready to slowly descend into the incredibly soft, welcoming embrace of a quiet, dreamless night. In the very center of the quiet meadow rests an incredibly ancient, beautifully hollowed stone basin, carved by shepherds centuries ago to collect the pure, gentle morning rain. Now, under the vast canopy of the night sky, it holds a perfectly still, beautifully dark pool of cool, fresh water. The smooth, incredibly flat surface of this tiny pool perfectly captures the bright, twinkling reflection of the highest, most brilliant stars, staring gently into this incredibly calm, tiny mirror of the cosmos. You can feel a profound sense of perfect stillness washing beautifully over your entire body. The water remains wonderfully undisturbed, absolutely motionless, teaching your racing mind how to achieve the very same beautiful serenity. All the complex, loud, and bustling thoughts of the day simply evaporate, leaving nothing behind but a pure, unblemished reflection of absolute peace. Let this profound, beautiful quietude completely fill your heavy chest, guiding you safely toward a magnificent, deeply restorative, and profoundly quiet slumber. A few paces from the gentle stone basin, a deeply fragrant patch of wild thyme grows close to the cool, dark earth. As the gentle night dew softly settles upon the tiny, beautifully delicate leaves, it releases a wonderfully earthy, incredibly grounding aroma into the quiet air. This deeply ancient, wonderfully herbal scent is profoundly calming, completely relaxing the tight, tired muscles hidden deep within your neck and shoulders. It is the beautiful perfume of the sleeping natural world, a gentle, silent invitation to return to a simpler, much slower rhythm of existence. Breathing in this wonderful, deeply comforting fragrance, you can physically feel your heavy body sinking deeper and deeper into the incredibly soft, perfectly supportive mattress beneath you. The cool, sweet earth is beautifully holding you, completely safely, allowing you to completely surrender all of your remaining waking energy to the vast, incredibly peaceful, and wonderfully dark comfort of the beautiful, deeply quiet night. Slowly meandering further up the gentle slope, we reach a beautiful, incredibly thick grove of ancient fig trees, their massive, sprawling branches reaching lovingly toward the starry sky. The wonderfully large, beautifully soft leaves create a magnificent, deeply dark canopy that completely blocks out the moonlight, creating an incredibly cozy, perfectly sheltered sanctuary beneath them. The air inside this quiet grove is noticeably warmer, holding on to the rich, comforting heat of the afternoon sun. The wonderfully sweet, beautifully heavy scent of ripe, dark figs softly permeates the enclosed space, wrapping you in a deeply comforting, wonderfully invisible blanket of pure, natural abundance. Standing quietly in this incredibly warm, deeply protected darkness, you feel completely hidden away from the demands of the entire waking world. It is a profoundly safe, wonderfully beautiful place to completely let go, allowing your wonderfully heavy eyelids to finally, peacefully close, gently welcoming the incredibly sweet dark release of undisturbed, magnificent sleep. Just beyond the sheltering branches of the fig grove, An incredibly smooth, beautifully polished marble bench rests alone on a quiet, grassy knoll. This beautifully simple, wonderfully elegant seat was placed here centuries ago for weary travelers to rest and admire the vast, beautiful expanse of the starry sky. The magnificent white stone is incredibly cool to the touch, slowly drawing away any lingering warmth and tension from your tired body. Sitting beautifully here in the absolute perfect quiet, you can deeply feel the incredibly vast, wonderful emptiness of the peaceful night stretching out beautifully in every single direction. There are no walls, no loud sounds, and absolutely no impending deadlines, only the profoundly deep, beautifully slow, incredibly majestic turning of the ancient earth. This wonderful, incredibly vast sense of beautiful open space is perfectly mirrored deeply within your own, incredibly quiet, perfectly rested mind, beautifully clearing the gentle path for a wonderfully soft, incredibly heavy, deeply peaceful descent into dreams. Looking incredibly softly upward from the quiet marble bench, the vast, beautifully dark canvas of the night sky seems to stretch on for absolute eternity. The Milky Way flows incredibly slowly across the cosmic ocean like a magnificent, glowing river of pure, crushed diamonds. Watching this profoundly ancient, beautifully slow celestial dance is incredibly hypnotic, perfectly pulling your heavy gaze further and further away from the small, fleeting worries of the earthly day. The incredible, beautifully vast silence of the beautiful stars is wonderfully contagious, deeply seeping into your incredibly tired bones and beautifully softening your heavy jaw. The beautiful, bright constellations have watched over this perfectly sleeping city for countless, incredibly peaceful millennia, and tonight they watch beautifully over you. You are completely, wonderfully safe, incredibly, perfectly protected beneath this wonderfully grand, beautifully bright canopy of soft, ancient light, deeply ready to incredibly gently float away into the beautifully vast, wonderfully quiet expanse of deep, peaceful slumber. A wonderfully soft, incredibly gentle rustling draws our incredibly heavy eyes back down to the beautifully cool, perfectly dark earth, where a small, beautifully delicate moth flutters incredibly silently past. Its beautifully pale, incredibly soft wings are perfectly coated in an incredibly fine, beautifully delicate silver dust that wonderfully catches the soft moonlight. The incredibly tiny, beautifully peaceful creature moves with absolutely no effort, wonderfully gently riding the incredibly slow, beautifully cool night breeze. Watching its wonderfully erratic, incredibly silent, beautifully gentle flight is profoundly, perfectly mesmerizing. It never rushes, incredibly beautifully dancing perfectly smoothly through the deeply quiet, wonderfully dark air. This incredibly beautiful, perfectly weightless movement wonderfully perfectly inspires your own incredibly tired, beautifully heavy mind to simply beautifully let go of all remaining perfectly grounded thoughts. You can beautifully, wonderfully float incredibly softly, just perfectly, like the incredibly delicate, beautifully pale moth, wonderfully completely surrendering to the incredibly vast, perfectly quiet, wonderfully beautiful night. As the wonderfully soft, incredibly quiet moth disappears entirely into the beautifully dark, still shadows, a profound, deeply comforting wave of absolute lethargy washes gently over your completely relaxed body. The magnificent ancient city of Troy is now entirely asleep, beautifully wrapped in the profound, heavy silence of the resting world. Every beautifully smooth stone wall, every delicate resting olive leaf, and every incredibly quiet grain of soft beach sand is completely at peace. You are beautifully, entirely connected to this profoundly deep, wonderfully ancient, perfectly undisturbed slumber. There is absolutely nothing left for you to accomplish, and nowhere else you need to be. The wonderfully vast, deeply protective night holds you incredibly close, safely wrapping you in an invisible, beautifully soft blanket of pure, absolute tranquility. Your incredibly heavy eyelids are now completely sealed shut, happily surrendering to the beautiful, magnificent weight of profound exhaustion, perfectly prepared to dive deeply into the beautiful, waiting ocean of dreams. From the deep, unseen valleys far beyond the ancient city walls, the incredibly faint, beautifully melodic sound of a distant, lonely owl perfectly echoes through the vast, quiet night. Hoo-hoo. The wonderfully soft, incredibly rhythmic call travels incredibly slowly across the peacefully sleeping plains, its sharp edges beautifully softened by the vast, open distance. It is a profoundly ancient, deeply comforting sound, a wonderful, gentle reminder that the beautiful, protective guardians of the dark, quiet night are perfectly awake so that you may safely rest. This incredibly slow, beautifully repetitive melody perfectly syncs with the deep, slow beating of your own resting heart. With every beautifully distant, wonderfully soft note that gently fades into the surrounding silence, you feel your incredibly heavy body sinking even further down, wonderfully melting perfectly into the soft, supporting mattress beneath you, completely releasing every last tiny drop of remaining waking energy to the peaceful, quiet dark. The beautifully cool, wonderfully gentle night breeze begins to incredibly slowly, perfectly softly fade away, completely leaving the magnificent ancient city in a state of absolutely perfect, undisturbed, and deeply beautiful stillness. Even the beautifully delicate, wonderfully soft silver leaves of the ancient olive trees have completely stopped their gentle rustling, wonderfully surrendering to the profound, heavy quiet of the deepest part of the magnificent night. This absolute, beautifully perfect lack of motion is profoundly, incredibly soothing to the completely exhausted, deeply tired mind. It wonderfully mimics the incredible, perfectly heavy, beautifully blank state of a profoundly deep, beautifully dreamless sleep. The incredibly soft, perfectly dark air around you feels wonderfully thick, beautifully rich, and incredibly protective, perfectly holding you in a state of absolute wonderful suspension. You are wonderfully, completely detached from the bright, busy waking world, perfectly floating incredibly softly in a beautifully vast, wonderfully empty, deeply comforting void of pure, endless peace. As you rest beautifully in this deeply profound state of absolute stillness, the magnificent ancient stones of Troy silently continue their slow, peaceful watch over the sleeping earth. They have stood tall through countless beautifully quiet nights exactly like this one, absorbing the soft, pale silver moonlight and gently radiating a wonderfully deep, ancient calm. You draw this profound, unshakable strength directly into your incredibly heavy resting bones, completely anchoring your tired spirit in absolute, unbroken peace. There is a deeply beautiful sense of permanence here, a comforting knowledge that this vast tranquility will always remain, quietly waiting to hold you safely every single time you seek it. You are entirely cocooned in the rich history of a world at perfect peace, allowing your mind to simply let go of the present and gracefully dissolve into the timeless, heavy comfort of an era where the night was truly built for deep, uninterrupted slumber. The vast, beautiful canopy of the starry sky completely blankets the ancient resting world in a flawless, deeply unbroken layer of absolute peace. You have journeyed so far tonight, traveling slowly across the quiet oceans of time to reach this beautiful, perfectly safe haven of true rest. Every single gentle step of this quiet journey has perfectly prepared your heavy, tired mind for this exact moment of complete and total surrender. The soft, heavy velvet curtain of the peaceful night is now gently, slowly drawing to a quiet, beautiful close entirely around you. The distant echoes of the merchants, the quiet rustle of the olive groves, and the incredibly soft lapping of the Aegean Sea have all faded completely into a wonderful, soothing silence. Your mind is as beautifully blank and profoundly clear as a smooth piece of ancient parchment, wonderfully ready to be gently filled with the incredibly soft, weightless imagery of deeply beautiful dreams. Now there is absolutely nothing left to hold on to and no reason to stay awake. The magnificent, deeply sleeping ancient city of Troy slowly, gently begins to fade entirely from your view, gracefully dissolving into the vast, dark, beautiful shadows of the peaceful night. You are drifting incredibly far away from the bright, busy waking world, gently sinking deeper and deeper into the heavy, soft core of pure, absolute relaxation. Let the beautiful, gentle darkness completely consume you, wrapping your exhausted spirit in a wonderfully warm, eternal embrace of absolute quiet. You are completely safe, perfectly at peace, and entirely ready to cross the final, invisible threshold of the night. As the last faint glimmer of silver starlight softly fades from your deeply closed eyes, allow yourself to effortlessly fall away. You are beautifully untethered, wonderfully heavy, completely surrendering to the vast, dark, deeply restorative comfort of absolute, perfect, and magnificently uninterrupted slumber. As our quiet journey through this ancient sleeping city gently draws to a close, remember that the profound peace of Troy is not lost to the deep currents of history. It is a quiet, eternal energy that resides perfectly within you, wonderfully waiting to be softly summoned whenever the waking world becomes far too loud. The same vast, glittering constellations that watched patiently over those incredibly smooth marble temples and softly rustling olive groves are the exact same ancient stars shining beautifully over your own resting home tonight. They are a constant, deeply comforting promise of absolute stillness and gentle cosmic order. The same rhythmic, hushing tide that softly polished the glowing sea glass along the ancient Aegean shoreline is the very same deep ocean current that beautifully connects all the quiet waters of our world. Whenever you feel the need to completely escape the busy rush of the modern day, you can always close your incredibly heavy eyes and gently drift back to this beautifully tranquil sanctuary. You can always wander perfectly slowly down the wide, incredibly smooth cobblestone paths, quietly listening to the deeply soothing, muffled clink of the delicate seashells swaying in the wonderfully soft night breeze. The grand, sleeping citadel will always stand completely strong and incredibly protective in the vast, quiet landscape of your resting mind. Its high, magnificent stone walls beautifully shielding you from any fleeting worries or unnecessary waking thoughts. This beautiful ancient world of perfectly balanced artistry, deeply grounded craftsmen, and magnificent, starry silence is forever yours to keep. The gentle potters, the resting weavers, and the softly breathing hounds have all beautifully shared their profound, unbroken tranquility with you. They have wonderfully taught your tired spirit how to completely slow down, how to beautifully release the heavy need for constant motion, and how to gracefully, perfectly surrender to the deeply comforting weight of the magnificent, absolute night. Now, as the deep, velvet darkness of the night fully embraces the sleeping world, it is time for you to completely let go. The ancient city of Troy has faded into a beautiful, hazy dream, its gentle echoes replaced by the incredibly slow, steady rhythm of your own deep breathing. You have traveled wonderfully far, leaving every burden, every schedule, and every waking thought far behind on the distant shores of the day. There is absolutely nothing left for you to do but rest. Your body is now wonderfully heavy, sinking perfectly into the soft, supporting comfort of your bed. Every muscle, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, is completely relaxed, beautifully melted into the mattress. The cool, quiet air around you is perfectly still, acting as a gentle, invisible blanket that keeps you safe, warm, and profoundly secure. You are deeply held by the quiet strength of the night, beautifully protected from anything outside this perfectly peaceful room. As you drift further into the vast, calm ocean of sleep, allow your mind to remain as beautifully clear and empty as the starry sky over the ancient plains. Let the soft, shimmering silver light of the cosmos gently wash away any remaining tension. Tomorrow will bring its own new light, its own gentle breeze, and its own beautiful discoveries, but for now, the world belongs entirely to the quiet, resting shadows. This is your sacred time, a beautifully dedicated pause in the endless, turning wheel of time. Breathe in the incredible, pure peace of this moment. Let the absolute stillness of the ancient world carry you safely through the darkest, most comforting hours. The journey is complete, and you are finally, beautifully home. You are wonderfully safe. You are beautifully relaxed. You are entirely ready to dream. Good night and sleep deeply.